Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
On the occasion of the Kings clinching a winning record for the first time since 1947, I have a confession to make. I have to admit, I was one of those people that didn't want to trade Haliburton for Sabonis. At this point, I just feel like, I need to be upfront about that. Yeah. I like Haliburton. I thought, Sabonis is a good player. Obviously, I was wrong, and I hope everyone can forgive me. That's just the truth. I was not crazy about the trade at the time. I'm sorry.
Jerry, I think my favorite shows are when Whitey starts out with a confession.
Yeah.
Sometimes he needs to get stuff off his chest, and there happens to be a lot of things that he needs to confess about. That's what's worrying me.
Obviously, we can take the rest of the show
I
here.
think we can. Yes, go okay, Mr.
But
Gleason.
I'll accept it, though. I mean, because you weren't alone. I mean, a high percentage of people at the time felt the same way. I wasn't one of them.
I know.
I mean, I loved Haliburton, I still do, but I just thought, I watched a lot of Sabonis over the years, and I thought, boy, this is the right thing to do, to find a big that can really play and all that. I didn't know he'd be necessarily as good as he is, although that's what he'd been in Indiana. I always hear the broadcast about, well, he's having his best year. Well, not really. He's having basically the same kind of year he had about twice in Indiana, almost identical.
Yeah.
Except he scored more there.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was a good trade under the circumstances. I'm
not going to try to defend it now, but at the time, I'm a big Haliburton guy, and I understand how it worked. One of the reasons it worked is because right now Fox is a better player than he was when they made the trade.
He was unlocked. Yeah, the Haliburton narrative made it a tougher trade to understand, at least initially. But then when you step back for a second, I know some people just went crazy, against it.
What was your feeling at the time it was made?
I was very surprised that it happened because, like I say, Haliburton drops to them, comes out, and he's better than everybody thought he was going to be, and then the overwhelming consensus was, well, let's get rid of Fox and keep Haliburton, And so when they traded Haliburton, it's like, well, what are they doing? But then when you sat down for a second and looked, they go, wait, this other guy they're getting, he's pretty good. I mean, he's really good. So, you could see why they would make the trade, and it's turned out to be better than I thought it would be, but it's better than I thought it would be, but at the same time, when I looked at it, I went, I can understand why they do it, because this other guy's really good, and I didn't know it would unlock Fox to that extent, but that's what it's done. So I'm not gonna mea culpa the way you did. I'm not starting off the show with a confession.
Sounds like maybe you should.
I don't think I should. I thought it might be okay, and it was.
Okay. Well, but your point is really good. I think sometimes we forget it. It really helped. I mean, it's like most of us that, why can't Haliburton and Fox really be good together? But they weren't.
They can't, because they can't.
They can't.
There's no answer. They just can't.
There's a point where you just say, and wisely, I think Monty McNair and realized that, okay, and Fox at that time was harder to trade because of the contract. So
yes,
and then of course people in Indiana and different places say, well, the Pacers should have traded Miles Turner. Well, of course, except that Miles Turner, nobody wants him near as much.
So it was.
Domas was the guy that clearly is the better player by far, and he had a lot more value. You don't get Tyrese Haliburton with Miles Turner.
Turner was harder to trade for Indiana for the same reasons Fox was harder to trade for the Kings at the time.
Yeah.
Mirror image.
Yeah. Why then did Sabonis play for? Well, Orlando drafted him, but I don't know if they drafted him for OKC. But he was with OKC, and then he was with Indiana, and technically is with Orlando. As good as he is, how did those two or three teams, depending on how you want to slice it, how did they end up passing on him?
Well, I think I can answer that. Basically, he was part of the Paul George deal.
Right, so that's one thing.
So he and Victor Oladipo went from
we love him.
Where OKC decided, well, we're going to take that next step. We're going to get Paul George, and actually Indiana got better than did OKC with that trade. Domas and Oladipo made Indiana. They were better.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, you got maybe the best player. I'm not sure you did, but
you got the biggest star,
the biggest name, but you didn't necessarily get the best player. Because Oladipo actually that year was terrific. You know.
Yeah.
And so that's how it happens. I mean, it's what I would call a mistake sometimes.
Yeah. Is it also in part because no other team allowed Sabonis to do what he's doing now? And I know Indiana, he was a star there. He was an all-star, literally. But no one has let him do the things that he does, especially in terms of being the distributor that the Kings have done.
Well, I think that's true. Certainly, he wasn't capable of that in Oklahoma City when he was a rookie and things like that. But I thought in Indiana they used him well, but the basket was always kind of full. Turner got in his way, really. I mean, he's a good player. I don't mean, but it was
a little crowded.
In there. And then, but here's the other thing I just think is funny is like Paul George has probably produced more talent for other teams than he's produced for the ones he's went to.
He's got a knack for that.
I mean, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is in Oklahoma City because of Paul George. Now, who would you rather have? I know who I'd rather have.
Right. Yeah.
So he's getting all-stars for every team that he goes to. Yeah,
I know if he can just make one more stop.
He's a valuable commodity because of who you can get for him.
But it's what we talk about all the time, though. It's just fit.
Yeah.
Unless you're LeBron, maybe even LeBron now and guys like that. It's fit. It's like Sabonis was great on Indiana, but he couldn't do what he really is capable of doing. Then he comes here, and it's a wide-open field, especially now that Halliburton's out of the way and Fox is, we've talked about many times, sometimes he's better off the ball, maybe having somebody else run the show, and he's able to do that. So he fits in perfectly to what the Kings needed him to do, and everything's working out great.
Well, yeah, I think that is so, I always say it's a classic example of Steve Nash. Drafted by Phoenix, traded to Dallas, traded back to Phoenix, where he became an all-time great.
Didn't you talk to Mark Cuban about that, about getting rid of Steve Nash?
I did.
Yeah.
And he just like I say, in summary, he just said, I've overpaid about every player, and the one I should have overpaid, I didn't, Steve Nash.
And he hasn't stopped doing that either. Yeah.
No.
What was impressive to me about the win last night was that the Kings, to me, they're one team for three quarters, and they're a different team in the fourth sometimes. For three quarters, they run everything through Sabonis. Then it gets the fourth quarter, and it's Fox time. It's closing time. And last night, you could see it's like the closer's down tonight.
Yeah.
Because he was a little worn out. Whatever it was, it happens. And it's like closer doesn't have the good fastball. And the Kings recognized that. They found other ways. Now, Fox still did get to the basket, but he wasn't the dominant Fox that he's been. And the impressive thing was that his teammates recognized that. They still found a way to close a big win on the road.
Well, they got, like I said, a lot of guys chipped in. Kessler Edwards, a couple of big shots. Malik Monk, which surprises nobody. And certainly Sabonis did a little bit more down the stretch than he normally would do, it seems. So that's what good teams do, though. But like you say, I agree with you. I mean, Fox wasn't quite Fox. Certainly, he found a way.
Yeah.
He found a way to be valuable, but not to the level that he normally is.
Yeah, he scored 101 points. Fox wasn't that great. Herder got hurt, and they still won the game. And now you talk about guys chipping in. Now, if Herder is out a couple of games, which he probably will be, they're going to need that.
Okay, doctor.
They're going to. Whenever you see mild hamstring,
I know.
I go 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's what I say. It's not the Vince Lombardi days, right?
Yeah, no.
It's
not a weight-bearing bone, buddy. He can play.
That's fantastic. So they're going to need that depth to step up to the forefront a little bit more with Herder down, and I think that's a great sign yesterday in a game they had no business winning. Let's be honest. I mean, they score 101 points. They hold the other team under 100 for the third time in 69 games all season. Oh yeah,
right?
Defended.
A little bit.
What happened to Brooklyn? I mean, come on, they're 39-30 going into that game at home against a team that played not very good,
and the night before. And
they played the night before and just pulled one out, which was fantastic.
But the most important thing, and both of you, I know you've kind of missed it thus far.
Of course,
you and I talked about it a little bit. Was I love that court that the Nets have got now, bright and red, and the uniforms going back to the old Nets uniform.
Yes,
I think.
That's the difference.
Bravo, you're on the right track, fellas.
Love it so much more.
How did I miss that in the game breakdown?
Well, you should have.
I should have.
We talked about it last night.
Yeah.
You guys
I told him, I said, I thought Michael Koren was out there.
Yeah, Michael Koren and Mike Jaminski.
It's a good jersey. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I don't like the drab, the black and the white, and then the gray court. The Warriors have one of those too. Now, it's a gray court. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? And I mean, don't go try to be University of Oregon. I mean, that's too far. But
that's right.
But I mean, I think I don't know, but I'd have to think, hey, we got to change this once Harden and Durant and Irving are all
Got
gone.
to flush that out.
Flush
and
it,
start all
flush
over.
it, start
Go back,
all over.
Go back to the old Nets days.
Go
Yeah,
back to
come
the
on,
old
when
Nets.
you were flashy.
Yeah, I can say I'm all for them, and they have been a pretty good team. They're going to be a top 5,
Yeah,
six
they've been
team.
really good when you consider that they have weighed all different people than they had when they were
Yeah.
starting off the season. Yeah.
You know, I think they were originally the New Jersey Americans.
Yep.
And they had a play-in game, like a playoff for a playoff spot, one of their first years against Kentucky in the old ABA, and they had to forfeit because they found an arena somewhere and it had like holes in it, and they had to say, we can't play our
And if the ABA couldn't play on it,
Yeah.
you know that
it's
was a
forfeit.
problem.
Kentucky
Yeah.
wins. We don't have an arena.
Oh, dang it! The fans were mad. Oh,
There were no
the American fans.
Well, I was
all Americans were upset at that.
I worked for a guy, Roger Kaiser was at West Georgia. He was the athletic director. He former All-American at Georgia Tech, and back in the day when there was 8 NBA teams and no ABA at that time.
No, there was
and there was an ABL, and he played for I think the Long Island.
They had a three-point
the
shot,
Wrens?
right?
Yeah, they had 3-point shot.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the most amazing things he told me was they played double headers. Anything to get fans.
Oh, yeah.
They actually scheduled a double header. You play a game and then you take an hour and then come play another game.
Minimize travel too, because you got 2 games done on the same day. Didn't have to take them
I
anywhere
bet you
else.
they played doubleheader and then followed by a doubleheader, double back-to-backs. I
Of
bet
course.
that happened.
Yeah, I bet they did.
I bet it did happen.
ABL MVP Connie Hopkins.
So
Thank you.
a lot of things in the old days, and I know not a single person that's watching and listening would probably remember that.
That's okay. That's what we're
That's
here for.
okay. That's what we're here
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
is to bore you occasionally.
With stories of holes in the floor and canceling playing games.
But by God, you may be bored, but you stay with us.
That's right. You might
And
learn-
we'll bore you some more.
Yeah.
About 35-minute mark, we're going to come up with a gem.
We are.
Stick with
You
us.
guys being such great students of the game.
Hey, he's right there.
Yeah.
He is. but
What are we to make
He
of
usually
this?
says that when he's got something to come after us.
No, not at all.
Uh-huh.
What am I to make of this? I like basketball. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fun. But I saw somewhere in the Athletic, the Kings right now, I believe they have the highest offensive rating in history. Highest offensive rating, which has to do with points per 100 possessions, whatever it is. So am I to look at this team and say, "Whoa, that's the greatest offense in basketball history"?
Yep.
You could do it that way.
I would.
Something tells me I shouldn't, but
No, I will. I
that's
will.
why-
Jerry, you go.
Well,
that's the greatest
the-
offense ever.
Absolutely.
I think if the only one that was close, or maybe even slightly ahead, was in the early '80s,
The Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets,
Yeah.
with Doug Moe, and of course they were playing at a pace nobody else even tried to play at then.
Right.
They invented defense schmefense.
They
did.
had
They
no
invented it.
interest.
I
in
refined it,
guarding.
but they invented it.
Yeah, that was a team that made Kiki Vandeweghe look like a stopper.
All of a sudden, there's Bobby Jones out there. Yeah.
Don't we have to take into account, though, the fact that the rules are such now that you can't guard anybody?
Yeah, in the
so,
pace.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
because
course
I
you
think
do.
the Nets last year had a historic offensive rating, and I think in the bubble, the Dallas Mavericks had an historic offensive rating, and a lot of it has to do with the proliferation of the threes and threes more than 2. But all this is in an environment where you can't guard people. Whereas you go back to Jordan's Bulls, and I know they didn't score a lot of points, but it was more difficult to score points then.
Yeah, it's the greatest offense of the era. I think,
Yeah,
is the way you have
which
to look
brings
at it.
me to my rant. I got to get it
Reynolds
off my chest.
rant.
We got to get go.
Wait, no, hold on. We got to get your
I'm
music
all-
ready.
I'm excited. At
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
I mean,
okay.
he just came out of this organically.
I'm getting
Yeah.
getting my
He's
second
he's
wind
going
here.
nuts. Well,
Yeah.
he drove himself today, so it's a lot different.
Okay,
Reynolds
here,
rant.
here it
the
is.
heck is that?
Here it is. I know Kings fans were incensed, as was I, on the Harrison Barnes foul at the end of, the previous
Chicago game, yeah.
Chicago game, where clearly there was no foul there. But the most and if he did touch him, it was on the way up and didn't affect the shot
Okay.
any way, shape, or form. Gave them a chance to tie the game. All right, and I don't know that you even could see that. So they reviewed it.
Okay.
And they go and they have all these monitors back in New Jersey, don't
That's
they?
right,
and they
Secaucus,
got
baby.
all kinds of professional former
Teams.
Professional watchers.
Teams of
They do.
officials.
yes, and they
Video experts.
and
Yes.
they decided that no, Mike Brown, that was a correct call.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't. So why in the hell do you have a review now? No,
Your rant is you
No,
guys are
no.
wrong?
now, but here's I got another point, and then I'm gonna finally get it off my chest, and I'll move on to life.
You'll feel better.
No, I
but
like this.
Then I happened to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yes.
Late in the game, close game,
Late game.
very close game.
yeah.
Embiid just simply drops his shoulder and bows Evan Mobley into the stanchion practically. The official wisely, he calls it charge.
Okay.
It's
Very
a
good.
charge.
All right.
So
what's the problem?
Well, the problem was Doc Rivers decides to challenge the call. See, it was going to be the 6th foul on Embiid
So
in a
what's
close
it-
game. He was going to be out.
So what's he got to lose? He's got to challenge.
He's got
the
to
ball.
challenge
Gotta
it.
challenge it.
He challenged it. The NBA, they go back to New Jersey
All the
with
CSI
all the
guys, they're
monitors.
looking at
And
the
they're
video
looking-
evidence.
they got
Yeah,
magnifying
they're looking
glasses
at it,
on.
magnifying glasses. And they said, "Ooh, he wasn't told. His left ear was wiggling."
So he wasn't set.
He
Block. Good
no
call. Block.
They
Overturned it.
they overturned it. Embiid is not fouled out.
He's in the game.
In the game,
Going to the
going to
foul.
the line. They win in a close game. Of course, J.B. Bickerstaff, the Cleveland coach, was incensed. I would have attacked somebody. They'd had to.
Sounds like you almost did.
Oh, I mean, it's like, wait a minute here. This is scary stuff. If in fact we have the reviews and they get those wrong, then why have them?
That's the time
You know,
I
we-
want to see the last 2-minute report because
Yeah.
I want to see if they look at it again and decide they were right when they overturned it the first
good
time.
question.
I
Well,
would
it
love to
just
see
just
that.
leads to so many, conspiracy theories.
Scenarios.
I mean, rightly so.
Bad optics.
Yeah.
Very bad optics.
Yeah.
And it's like most of us that love basketball, we realize officials will miss calls. I think we can live with that.
Do we need to do it better or just get rid of the system entirely?
Well, if they're going to miss, if the reviews are going to be missed, clean out the whole bunch of the
I think
monitors
we
and
need
move
to
on.
investigate this one incident. I think that's this one incident
Yeah.
that's got
Who-
you going. Let's get.
That's what my
I mean,
buddy
this is
Steve
a-
says, by
yeah.
the way. My buddy Steve he told me, he said, yeah, I'd just soon get rid of all the whole replay altogether.
I think,
Yeah.
well, this has got, I mean, really, if it's going to be like this,
Yeah.
how can you miss? I mean, it's one thing to miss the charge block call, but then you review it and it's clearly a charge. If you put a picture up in the rule book, it says charge.
That would be the
that
play.
would be the picture they'd put up there.
What do you think of
Sure.
this rule of thumb? And I'm agreeing with you. I'm not trying to undercut you. Former NBA official by the name of Bill Simmons told me once, the rule of thumb, it's the toughest call in sports, shoulder to the chest, defense at its best. If the offensive player goes shoulder to the defensive player, most often that is an offensive foul.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
And that's my point.
yeah, I know.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
And what if you're the referee that called it right?
Yeah.
on the thing? How do you feel about a guy? About a guy coming in and a team of scientists overturning you 2,000 miles away or whatever. it
This
is.
is a day when we don't have cold water from Stones.
Well,
This is
Oh,
Jerry-
nice
I'm
job,
telling you.
Stones. I got a guy overheating over here.
NBA, get this squared away.
I don't want to tell
Guy's
him that.
radiator steaming
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, Phantom, in the 2-minute report of the Kings Bulls. The
Yeah.
2-minute report said it was a correct call. It was
Yeah,
a
I saw
foul.
No,
And
I don't
2
care
minute-
what
Wasn't
they
going to
said.
say anything though, but
Yeah,
thanks
I
a
know.
lot.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Now, here's what I'd say. You lied.
The one that got me in that game was the earlier call when they called the reckless closeout because you have the 3-point line. Barnes is on one side of it, right? And DeRozan's on the other side. And by the way, if he's shooting a three, I'm like, be my guest. But
Yeah,
that
DeRozan-
doesn't matter.
that's up here.
like, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So the 3-point line is here. Harrison Barnes goes up and comes down. He's still on the same side as the 3-point line. DeRozan goes up, shoots it, and comes down on the other side of the line.
Yeah.
So how's that a reckless closeout? I mean, clearly it was obvious visual evidence.
Yeah, he wasn't moving under the shooter.
Right.
And
Did
that,
you
No, he
Move
couldn't because he
forward.
stayed on
Yeah,
the
have
other
the
side.
line
Yeah, that's-
right. There's no question that happened.
yeah, that's the rule is, endangering the shooter. Well, he was on the, he didn't move an inch
Yeah.
from where he was.
Yeah.
The shooter moved into him.
Right. And I know Mark Jones said, well, they usually call this a reckless closeout. And I thought, they can't. There's no way. And sure enough.
I hate that term, reckless closeout. That's just come on.
Closing out is hard.
well,
enough.
well, they
That's
need
a
to-
reckless closeout over there.
No,
oh,
they
man.
need to change, actually, the rule and say, basically, it's not a foul, but we're going to call it anyway.
Yeah, it's like you can't tackle people in football anymore. It's like, get off my lawn.
That's a
And
reckless tackle.
You can't contest a jump shot now because,
Well, you can't
reckless
contest
closeout.
a three.
If the
Right.
shooter, if the
You
shooter
can-
goes forward,
You can knock guys goofy around the
They're
basket.
within, within.
Yeah, if they're within
because of
a-
Reggie Miller when he was kicked his foot out years ago.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the whole thing. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
if you go up for a shot and you go forward and land on somebody, they could put that in the rule book. You can't go
But
forward.
and he clearly did,
Yeah.
no question, because
Reckless
you have
closeout.
the 3-point line right there, and you can see. So
Well, it's
I
not
don't-
a closeout. That's the point. I mean, it's
a standstill.
You know, I understand why they put the rule in, because there were guys, I won't name names, that played for the Warriors.
Zaza Pachulia.
Zaza
Who ruined the
Pachulia
playoff
would
series.
be the
Yes,
name.
he did, yes.
But
Went under
you could
Kawhi.
see
Yeah.
trying to move under shooters. Well, that's got to stop, and you should kick guys out and technicals, whatever.
And Kawhi
But-
was, until then, he was
but-
okay up here.
Jerry,
But
I
after
remember
that,
talking
Jerry,
to you. I think it was the day after that happened. I think Mark Kreidler and I talked to you, and you said, "I'm not really crazy about that rule." Yeah, because I know you've been in basketball a long time, and basketball got along fine without that
Without the
rule about the reckless closeout.
Well, the problem was that just like what's happened, they've taken it too far now, that where you can't actually defend the 3-point shooter. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, just being in the area and 3-point shooters. No, how often do we see, and whether it's even the big time guys, Curry and those guys, a guy goes by them that's really contested, and they're falling
flips
down,
around, yeah.
You know, falling backwards like they've been shot with a cannon or something. And so it's anyway. I'm really upset.
What's
here.
Steph Curry's
there's-
favorite season?
I got to get back on
There's,
track here.
there's no such thing
Fall.
as a legal closeout anymore. It doesn't seem
No,
like.
no,
I
there's
don't
no
see-
legal closeout.
You can't close. You can't close it. They
No.
don't need to call it reckless. Just call it a closeout. You know, it's a foul.
Just, yep, you tried to guard him, foul.
Yeah, you touched him.
Back
you
in
ran
the
by
day,
him,
you
foul.
could shoot a guy, and it was okay as long as it was in the leg or
Yeah,
something.
as long as it wasn't a weight-bearing boner.
Yeah, yeah.
Did the Kings play defense last night, or did the Nets just not execute offensively very
Yes.
well?
I think they played pretty good defense.
I thought so too, and I was reluctant to suggest that.
Well, you know, the broadcast crew made a good point. I mean, which always amazes me a little bit. But
You're right there. You're going to see stuff.
Yeah, but they pointed out that that the Kings' defensive stats in the fourth quarter
Yeah.
are way better than they are in the other quarters, and that's a credit to Mike Brown and his coaching staff and the players. But I mean, I think they have been. Of course, by nature of the game, as you guys know very well, is that the game always slows down in crunch time to where it's a little more of a 4-5-on-5 game and a little more physical. But the Kings have been better when it counts down the stretch.
I also know this: the Kings have been so incredibly efficient offensively in the fourth
Yep.
quarter. That alone makes my defense better, because now I can get back, and the other team has got to take the ball out of the bottom of the basket, and I'm not giving up transition stuff, because the Kings have been scoring almost at will in the fourth quarter.
Well, and as we've talked about before too, and Mr. Offense Schmoffitz, which you're right, is that
defense, offense,
yeah,
offense.
the most teams
Second side of the same coin. Yeah.
most teams don't change ends of the floor like the Kings. I mean, the Kings are, I'm convinced, the best I've ever seen at getting scored on and getting the ball up and scoring on them. But to your point, which I think is accurate, Kings score. They take it out normally, and then you have to play against a 5-on-5.
Yeah, that's funny. That used to be a saying, right? It's like, well, you can't fast break on another team's made basket, and now we see, no,
Yes, you
you,
can.
You actually
not
can.
everybody can, but teams do.
Yes.
Yeah, the Kings can.
Uh huh.
Kings are really good at transitioning, although that I don't know if that means the same thing as it used to.
No, there's a
Yeah,
different
I don't know.
definition.
You said it.
I don't
You
know if you
clean
can
it
say,
up.
I don't know if you can say it or not, but I think
Yeah.
they're really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, you're on your own there,
But I
buddy.
think the key
Tremendous.
point in that is what White said, though, as far as offensively.
Well, don't
affecting their
try
defense.
appealing to my,
I'm not
mercy
appealing to you.
now,
I'm
but-
talking to Jerry. Anyway, what'd you think of that call at the end of that Cavaliers-Sixers game, Jerry? I'll tell you something. I thought he put his shoulder right in the guy's chest.
I tell you what, boy, I thought that review board right on it. I mean, they.
shoulder to the
God.
chest, defense at its
Do you think they
best.
get around the monitor and they argue with each other, or do they just try to get one guy yells louder?
Most
so
of
he
them aren't
gets it?
paying attention. They're like, "Yeah, I'm watching something else." No, could you just take a? I need you to just look at it.
Well,
no,
I'm
watching
watching
another
Poker
game.
Face over
Yeah,
here. Come on,
yeah.
I got the end of the
Okay, yeah,
season.
whatever you say is fine with me.
Well, you get,
What I
you
think
get
they're doing.
Well, no, you
Nah,
get
you did it last time. I'll do it this time.
You get the impression there's 10 guys sitting around saying, "Oh, clearly a charge. One guy's nope, block."
Yeah. Or I'll tell you what, let's flip.
Yeah,
Right?
That's what
Yeah.
they're probably
or
doing.
we don't give a shit. We got to keep Embiid in the game. Come on, guys.
Right.
Now, that's probably what
who's
they're
it
gonna
on?
call from
How
your
many
buddy-
fouls does Embiid have? Yeah, that's a
Your buddy
that's a
Adam
block.
Silver calls him up, because he's a very active commissioner.
Very active.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, how's your brackets?
I didn't do brackets. I didn't watch any college. But if I had brackets, they would be destroyed because of Arizona, because I always try to get the West Coast teams, and they always let me down.
Yeah.
I learned a valuable lesson last year. I don't have a bracket either. My wife, Sheena, has a bracket where she works. She came home last year. Can you help me with this? And I'm
She
really,
should have known better.
Yeah,
than that.
she should
really
have come over to
NBA
our house.
guy.
but
So I was
that's
like,
okay.
I'll do what I can. So last year she says, I really like Kansas because I used to live there. And I was like, I don't.
Did
I
you
don't
say
think
no? You
wanna-
didn't used to live there? Or?
No, I said I don't think you want to pick them. And of
Oh.
course that kind of didn't go well.
Well,
so this
yeah,
year,
yeah. Wow.
yeah. So this year, she's, can you help me? I said, I'll do what I can. I'm looking up this and that, and these are supposed to be going somewhere. I saw Furman and Virginia, but maybe it's going to be a good game. So she says, I'm picking Furman, and I just said, huh. I didn't say yes. I didn't say
Well,
no.
you did say
'cause
no
she-
the way you said yes.
no,
right,
because
Jerry?
she was firm. She said, "I'm picking Furman." She declared it. She didn't say, "Should I?" And I said, "Yeah." That's all I said. And thank goodness, because now
So now you're taking credit for
I'm
it?
not taking credit, but the point is, I'm not getting any blame for it. So,
That was such a tough end of the game to watch.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Oh, you see this guy just do the heave at the end of the game. Just the worst play.
you
Just
have a little more
terrible.
poise against press like
Yeah,
that, huh?
yeah.
Huh?
Well,
At the end
yes,
of the game?
absolutely, yes, obviously. But you could also just feel bad for the guy. And then you knew when Furman came down and you knew it was going in. You knew that guy was making the shot. There was no doubt it was going in. After you make a bonehead play like that, they're going to go ahead and make the shot. You know that.
Last night, I think Houston was on against Northern Kentucky, and it was an okay game. And I was like, what's on NBA TV? Orlando and Phoenix. Great game. Yes. I
Okay.
watched that. It
All
was
right.
a tremendous game.
Okay.
The Suns got the win. You know what I can't stand about the college game is the stinking possession arrow. I don't know about you guys.
No, I can't stand the timeout every
hate
4 minutes.
The possession arrow. Yeah, I don't like that
God,
either.
it's terrible.
Because you tie a guy up, it's like, do we get the ball? No, the arrow's going the other way. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
stand it.
I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't bother me like the replay rule does, but that's okay.
That's good because we couldn't take another rant today, okay?
Okay. Do we need to talk about Andrew Wiggins at all, his situation?
We don't know anything.
Okay.
And I think we should just leave it there.
Really? Okay. You don't
I'm
wanna
not
address
going with the speculations that I see on the social media platforms.
Okay. Well, you can see. You can find out all about it on social
Yeah,
media.
you'd kind of
What
like
is-
to have something come from the club, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't-
Or Andrew.
Yeah.
And even if it, Brad, how you comment on something like that? It just just let it play out.
Mm-hmm. Well, some people are upset that he, if that's it, that he hasn't been playing, and some people are saying, no, we understand, leave him alone. The point is there hasn't been, or I don't know if it's the point, but it's the fact, there hasn't been any pushback on that narrative. No one has said, no, that's not true. So it probably is true, but it's just a mess for the worse.
I'd imagine, and Phantom might agree or not, I would imagine if Vince Lombardi was coaching the
geez.
Warriors, he might have a different take on it. What do you
Jerry,
think?
how many times have we seen this lately? I mean, Kyrie Irving did this a while ago. He just left the team for no reason. We have this situation.
Wait, aren't you the guy who months ago, August, we were sitting over there, but you were saying,
Well,
oh,
yeah, but
Ben
over there.
Simmons, his mental health
Yes.
is so important,
Yes.
and you should be sensitive to that.
Yes.
Now you're coming after Wiggins
I'm just,
when we don't even know what happened.
I'm not
Exactly.
coming after Wiggins. I'm saying that we're seeing this more often now with people taking leaves of absences for unrelated, like a John Morant kind of situation, and he's off for however many games, and we have the situation with Wiggins and Irving took time off without any explanation at all.
But they're not all the same thing.
No,
He's
they're not
saying,
the same
yeah,
thing,
but
but
he's
I'm
saying
saying-
we want explanations. Don't we?
I'm just saying we're seeing these unexcused absences from teams a lot more often than we used to. It seems like.
Yeah, but you're stringing them together, and I don't know that that's fair. John Morant, we know what happened, and I think he got off easy because the investigation showed that, well, there's no proof that he possessed that gun or took it on the flight or took it in the club. Maybe it was someone else, and I don't know, but I think maybe he's getting off easy with, 8-game suspension.
And then we have the college kid with the situation in Alabama. So that's it's just super odd.
but he
stuff.
didn't
Just-
miss any games, did he?
No, Jerry, and that really offended me a little bit. I mean, from afar, from what I understood, he has a gun in his car. He drives it to a guy who takes it out of his car and kills somebody. Is that basically what happened?
Yeah.
And I figured in the old days, if you gave a guy a gun and they killed somebody, you were complicit in there somewhere. So
Well, if you
I
knew-
mean,
if you
even if
knew.
he's not,
Yeah.
even if he's not, that's fine, and I hope he's not. But let's take a game or two and figure it out.
Right.
Let's not just throw him back on
No,
the
you're right.
floor.
You're right.
That's all I'm saying. I mean,
You're right.
hopefully he's blameless in the whole thing somehow. And if so, let's go. And he's a freshman too. Let's just step away for a second.
Well, he's a top 3 pick.
no, he's a
probably.
great player.
Yeah, but you're right. I
again,
mean,
it's-
I don't know. I mean, legally, he's probably not to blame, but he is to blame because he had a gun and he gave it to somebody else. Now, he may not known what he wanted it for, but I know what guns are for.
Yeah, it's just tough trying to adjudicate the whole thing. But all I'm asking is take a step back. Just give the guy take 2 games off and let's figure out the situation. Don't put him back on the court. What, the next day he's playing in the game?
Yeah,
Just-
I understand. All I'm saying is that, and like Wiggins and John.
Yeah, they're all different.
They're
You're
all
right.
different.
They're all different. But there just seem a lot
situations.
of those kinds of situations is all I'm saying.
I mean, it's like Fox missed a few games because his wife was with child and
Yep.
had a child. Well, you can understand it. Now, if he wanted to do it till this child became 10 years old, I'd have a
Probably
problem
be
with it.
excessive.
I want to
wouldn't
go
it?
to the first day of school with him, then I'll be back with the team. Okay, Darren, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I don't want to miss
You're
a day
a
of
parent.
his-
Yeah.
As long as
like-
we're speculating, I wonder how much.
miss a day.
I wonder how much that had to do with how much better he's gotten. Is just the realization, man, I'm going to be I have no idea, but I wonder how much that inspired him.
It changes
in
you,
this
as you know.
offseason.
It changes
Yeah.
you.
So then just think if you're Wiggins, what happens? Where everything you
We
think,
don't, but we don't
you don't
know.
think,
No,
and
we
then
don't
you find out.
know.
Wait, that's not my kid.
But if that's
That would
really a
be-
situation,
yeah.
then you can never come back because
That would
that's
be
never going to
very-
go away
yeah.
from you.
Very,
Or
very
if you're going to come
difficult.
back, you're going to be very angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready to visit Jersey City? By the way, Michael
Absolutely.
Korn, who I mentioned earlier, from Jersey
Michael
City.
Korn was
literally
one of the
from Jersey
was
City.
one of the guys I had considered in my Jersey City. This week we're doing the Nets. So if you go to the Kings
Oh.
and Nets games and you're going to represent the Nets, or if you're in New Jersey,
I thought we were doing
go,
the Wizards because they're playing the Wizards.
No,
next.
we're
I
not doing the
could just
Wizards.
scream
Yeah,
it.
we
Okay.
can do the Wizards too, but
All right.
yeah, I don't.
No, okay.
Yeah, so we're doing the Nets. So go.
Okay. Oh, can you
Oh,
go first?
since you thought we were doing the Wizards.
Yeah,
If you
I
had read
appreciate
my
that.
post on Twitter, it would have said Jersey City Nets on it. So I'm just saying. Yeah.
Can
so
you just tell me
take it
when
down.
you see me? Hey, how are you? This
Well,
is
you were kind of late today, so I couldn't. I usually would have if you'd have come with
okay.
Jerry
You're
like
right.
usual.
That's my fault. Do you have one, Jerry?
I do.
Okay.
You
Bill
started-
Melchione.
Dang it, that was mine.
Bill Melchione, former, I think, University of South Carolina. I think he played there. I'm not sure. Might have been Villanova. I don't know. But
Silky
anyway,
smooth point guard, huh?
Well,
silky
sort of.
smooth.
He was very
Silky
medi-
smooth.
very mediocre. But
I was being
I
nice.
just kind of liked him. You
Yeah.
know, he wasn't particularly good, but he stayed in the league a while, and he could make a shot, make a play. Really good college player, but Anyway, Bill Melchione. That's all I
You
got
be
to say.
sporting the Melchione jersey when you go to the Nets games?
I would
love
not.
that.
No, I would not.
I would sit next to you wearing my number 52 Buck Williams jersey.
Ooh,
yeah, one of the
that-
greatest rebounders I think the game probably has ever seen. Tough defensive player, just a guy who went in there and did the dirty work, and is really watching play. One of my favorite guys from that era, especially at that position, the old power forward.
Buck Williams could guard everybody except one guy,
And that guy is
Wayman Tisdale.
Wow.
I'm serious. I mean,
because
Buck
he didn't know he was left-handed.
No. Wayman's big butt
Oh,
would just
yeah, his
pin
butt.
Buck, and
Old
he
skinny
could,
Buck
and-
Williams,
And
yeah.
Buck he even talked about it. I remember Jeff Peters talked about it. I said, "Man, Buck would always say, I can't guard that guy.
his butt, man. It's his
Wide
butt.
load.
'Cause
Anyway.
Wayman anyway, but he was a
That's
great.
awesome,
he
Jeff.
was a great defender, but just showing
Yeah.
you everybody's
Great
got
rebounder.
everybody's got their Waterloo. You know.
Yep.
Basically brought the lunch pail. That's
Yeah.
it. Buck Williams, number 52. That's my
Okay, I apologize. I'm not sure I have the number. I think it was 21, but I could be wrong. This guy was just so phenomenal when he was playing. He was unstoppable. Some of the things he did, Euro step before they called it that. Great shooter. I remember he single-handedly upset Julius Erving and the Sixers in the playoffs one year. Michael Ray Richardson, and I know he
Oh,
had substance
yeah.
abuse issues that
Yes,
derailed
he
his
was great.
career. But there was a time when it was like, my goodness, he was unstoppable.
He was DeJounte Murray, only better.
Yeah. Okay.
Very
yeah.
nice. What a
He was-
great comp.
He was better
Yeah.
than DeJounte Murray. Yeah, what a player. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he really could have been a top 5 guy at that time
Yeah.
had he
There
not
were
had-
moments when he was.
There
I would
were, yeah.
argue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my honorable mention was Super John Williamson.
Oh yeah, Super
I love
John.
Super John. I thought that's where you might go, Super
Yeah.
John Williamson.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I didn't,
Yours
so-
is good. Yours
Yeah,
is
okay.
good. I'm not
All
saying
right.
it's not good. I'm not saying I have 2 better than your 1. I'm just saying that's good. So Jersey City Nets, I think we're representing pretty well.
Yeah, I thought
you and your
I was
Melchione jersey.
I
don't
was
know.
probably going to go with Mike Jaminski if I hadn't just went off the rails with Bill Melchione.
You're doing that today, though.
I am.
You really
You know,
are.
I'm a lost soul today. I don't
That's
know.
all right.
I
It's
hope not.
Friday.
You're driving yourself.
Until
That's
they-
not a good day to be a lost soul.
No, till they get this stuff straightened out. I don't know.
Can we agree on this in Jersey City? Whatever Nets players we're talking about the jersey that they wore last night. right?
Yes,
Whatever
yes.
it is. They had a
Yeah,
lot of
I'll
different
go with
jerseys.
that.
Yes,
I'll go with
Jerseys
that.
that
I'll
they
go
wore
with
last
that.
night.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those are nice. They're plain. They're pretty. And the surprising thing, the home team wore white.
Oh yeah.
My
You don't
God,
see
who
that
would have thought
anymore.
we'd see
Yeah. I never heard of that. Yeah.
Oh.
It's funny you say that. I was thinking of this watching a game this week, and I was going to ask you guys. I thought, no, I'm not going to ask them that. That's dumb. But I'm gonna now that you brought it up.
kinda
So I'm
dumb.
watching a game, and it says the jersey colors. It says home team, teal, road, black. What two teams was I watching?
Ooh.
You're not going to get it.
Teal.
Yeah, home team,
black.
teal. This is an NBA game. Home team, teal.
I'm gonna go-
road team, black.
Home team teal Charlotte.
That's what you think. That's not right.
Was
but
that the Phoenix game?
it was?
Phoenix wearing black and
No, Phoenix was wearing
Oh,
teal.
teal, yeah.
Yeah. And it was the Bucks were wearing black.
yeah.
Isn't that just like, wait, those teams don't? And I know they
Oh,
sell more
man.
jerseys, but it's funny you say that about the home team wearing white because I saw that when they said Phoenix, teal, Milwaukee, black. And I thought, boy, I know two guys that
No,
could be
that's
crazy
not
about
good. Plus, if we're trying to announce the game, Jerry, how can you see the numbers on those jerseys? Come on, somebody wear a white jersey with red numbers. Let's go.
Well, I think it's just a matter of time till they have let each team wear different color uniform.
Pick your own
You know,
jersey.
kind of like
Yeah.
they do with shoes. You got all different
Yeah.
color shoes.
Okay.
Well,
so you
what-
mean like guys on the same team are wearing different on the
Sure.
same team in the same game,
Yes.
different colors?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, probably sponsored.
That's
yeah.
just make the complete joke of the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, not numbers, just colors.
Yeah.
Hey, red, you fouled blue. Come
Yeah.
on, out of here.
Well, see, you'd have basically the road team, in theory, wear colored
Yeah.
and the other team wear different white home uniforms.
Like
Sure.
eggshell
So-
white.
So you could at least
Well,
tell
white
the
with different color accents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
like that.
But like you'd wear red and blue and black.
I
and-
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, see,
that's good.
you talk about selling more jerseys. I
Oh,
mean,
that's
yeah.
how you do it.
how
Plus,
you
they
do
have
it.
a great look to them. That's fantastic.
And then at halftime we'll change. Right?
Yeah,
Or,
well, sure.
or we'll
Shirts and
switch.
skins.
And okay, you guys are white now and we're why not?
Yeah,
But
that's
you see
right.
that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
When you see a guy throw the ball out of bounds and it looks like what an idiot, but you can see there was a guy,
There's a
teammate
guy in the-
standing up
yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
out of
had
the
a
corner of his
jersey
eye.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, he saw that. Yeah.
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 No, anyway,
Yeah.
that's the league we're in.
Mhm.
You know, I'm hoping
You're adapting very well.
I'm
I'm
actually
not. No,
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
not.
think you are.
I
Would you
am-
rather see the jerseys figured out or the review figured out? I think you'd rather see the review figured out.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that Commissioner Silver.
If he was living and breathing.
If you want another breath, get on this.
Wasn't there a time when team colors meant something? Like,
Yes,
like
yes.
your school colors
Yes.
mean
But
something.
that's when you only wanted to sell one
Even
jersey.
Stones was like,
yeah,
yo.
that's only you wanted to sell one jersey. I wanted to
Well-
get my Laker jersey, whatever it is. Now it's like I wanted 6 different versions of the alternate home jersey that they wear on holidays, Cinco de Mayo.
Well,
it's crazy.
I've always said I know I'm old. Excuse me, and I'm old school. I'm going to stay old school until I can't do it either. But I knew when you're watching Duke University what they're going to look like, and they still are.
Yeah.
University of Kentucky. I knew what they're going to look like. New York Yankees,
L.A. Dodgers.
L.A. Dodgers,
Boo, but yeah.
UCLA Bruins.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and as opposed to all the wannabes, they change. It's like, my God,
Oregon. I'm looking at you,
yeah,
Oregon.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
you, Oregon. Yes.
Yeah.
Stay with something. Create. If they always say, "Well, create a culture." Well, how about just creating a culture? Totally.
Yeah,
Get a
culture's nice,
uniform
but
That's
and
part
say
of your culture,
these.
though.
Yeah,
your
these
dress
are.
is part of your culture.
Yeah, the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Celtics wearing black sometimes.
Yeah, I know that's
Culture doesn't sell jerseys,
No,
bro.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
No,
Well, that's
bottom
when,
line, baby.
Well, that's when the Celtics first went with a dancing group. That was a term, although I kind of enjoyed it, but that's
Yeah.
used to be when they were back in the days, the bird days. And all
They were
those.
the only team that didn't, right?
Well, yeah, their halftime show and entertainment was they'd roll a rack of balls out there and wait till the guys came back out.
And you just looked at the rack
And
of
we
balls.
They
loved
said,
minutes. Yeah.
pretty soon we're going to have another
we-
great half of basketball.
We
Yeah.
enjoyed ourselves. We
Boy.
love that.
You know the halftime show at Arco in the King's Glory days that my wife, Sheena, loved was the Quick Change people. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
and
yeah.
one of them just recently passed
Yeah,
away.
I know.
But they where they'd have the guy and the woman, and then she'd spin, he'd spin her, and then all of a
fantastic.
sudden she's wearing a different dress.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. I
Never
slowed it
failed to
down
love
one
that.
time, and there was like a button she had where she's like,
Oh, what is this now?
and then like,
I don't
Spoiler
think-
alert!
Yeah.
Come on.
I was like, Shinya,
I don't
come
want
here.
to.
I think I know how they
Why
do
you
it.
doing that?
Now the question I've got, and that was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I think it's magic. I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
trying to
it's-
ruin our magic, Jerry.
but I'm still confused as to exactly what the guy's role was. Take your spinning butt and sit down.
Right,
or at least
right.
He's got to draw the attention away. He
yeah.
draws the attention away
yeah.
because it's a
By
magician's
going
trick.
with this
Yeah.
or something,
Look at
and
over
then-
here. It's like
and then you don't see this.
Jerry, I'll put it in terms you get. It's like Tyreek's 25-5. Look over here. The team sucks.
Yeah.
Look over here. It's
Oh,
Tyreek
yeah.
25-5. But I always liked the dog races. The dog races were the best.
Now I like the dog
halftime
races,
show.
yeah.
But then I slowed it down one time, Jerry, and they're pushing a button on the dog.
That's
So
it. They weren't real dogs.
They weren't
It's
real
like
dogs. They
robot dogs.
actually changed their outfits.
Well, and the lady that kicks all the bowls up on her head.
Tremendous.
oh, that is
I don't know how
fantastic.
she does
Oh,
that.
yes.
Oh,
Just think how hard she had to
I like
practice.
baby
that.
and she's
races.
still doing it.
Yeah.
She's probably 60 years
Well,
old.
there's no retirement in that job. As long as you can get the bull spinning, Jerry, you keep going.
I mean, if they have to walk out there in a walker and get on her unicycle, that's
she
a bad
turns it
sign.
upside down and does the tennis ball.
That's
I
how
mean,
we. That's how we knew the Maloofs were really hurting because they had like the quick change and they'd have these great acts. Remember
Yeah.
those guys they
Yeah.
had that would be like statues
Oh,
and
I
yeah.
love those.
yeah,
Like
and you know
the
those
Cirque du
guys were
Soleil kind of
cheap.
guys.
Then the next thing you knew is like, and for halftime entertainment, here's so and so middle school against the other middle
Yeah.
school. And like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's when you.
And here's Jimmy and Bob. They're juggling.
Yeah.
Okay, and they
Yeah.
drop it all the time.
Yeah,
Well, there
that's when
was-
you're like, whoa.
There's been, there really has been a 10-year period, or 16, but at least 10, to where the most entertaining thing about the Kings is Slamson.
Oh,
And
Slamson's
he
the best.
honestly,
He's the
I
best.
really believe he's the best.
He's the best.
He's the best in the
I
whole
assume
league.
it's the same
Fantastic.
guy, right?
Yeah.
He's a tremendous guy.
he's
tremendous
really
talent.
good guy.
Yeah.
Really good guy,
Yeah.
extremely talented.
There have been times when the team was here and Slamson was
Oh.
like,
Oh, yeah.
And
Slamson
that's-
was always up there.
Yeah,
Slamson
yeah.
Slamson's ceiling was a ceiling, and he
Yeah.
always was at least there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Remember
His-
Rocky, the Nuggets mascot? They lowered him once from the ceiling,
Yes.
and he blacked out. And so they're lowering him there, and it's like,
I
man,
got a
that
lot
guy's
of
unconscious. And
got a lot of sympathy
It's funny
for
now,
that.
but at the time, it's like, oh, I hope he's okay. And out here is Rocky.
Looks like Rocky lost this one. And he's
I
like,
always liked
yeah.
it when Benny the Bull.
Oh, I like Benny.
Well, we'd be on trying to pregame show, and he'd come over try to be friendly. Of course, Grant, like,
Wow, get out of here.
Are you kidding me? You're not even a real bull. Get out of here. Call her. Give me a call right now. 339-1140.
I mean, it's like, what are you doing? Go on.
Yeah.
Remember the King's Court? Remember that when they brought the King's Court into session?
Yeah.
Back in they
Early
used to have-
days,
Yeah,
yeah.
early days. And I remember they had the Mickey Spillane guy come on and do it from the Miller Lite commercials.
You
with
told
the
me once
doll.
they had Tony
With the
Tennille
doll.
do it.
Tony Tennille was. Oh yeah, she's a big fan. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Slamming the gavel, baby. Yeah, it was fantastic. King's Court's now in session.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's good.
tremendous.
Maybe I want to bring that back because that was
Yeah,
pretty
that was-
good.
that
Yeah,
was good.
That was
That was
actually
good.
We
Yeah.
just now we've got more celebrities that we can put out there now because they're all coming to the King's game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the cool thing now is that you don't want to bother them. It's like, yeah, they're here, they're having a good time. Then you show them, hey, look, there's, George Kittle or whoever it is. You don't want to make a big thing of, hey, come on,
Well, you
you're
let
a
'em-
trained SEAL now.
That's
so
okay. You let them bang the gavel. I mean, that's not interfering with.
No,
their
it's
work.
not a good
No,
idea
I
to
think it's
bang
a
the gavel.
Great idea.
Yeah, maybe
King's Court is
afterwards
now
you
in
have somebody,
session.
Barry Bonds or whoever, can light the beam, but banging the gavel,
Barry
no,
Bonds,
it's
I
not
don't know.
1985 anymore.
You know
Well,
what's the
it-
greatest thing about the Kings, when they're really good as they are now, is so many teams broke rules when you're on the road. They're playing music while the game's going on. Trying to get their
Yes.
fans. You're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed
Kings
to.
didn't have to do that. They just, the crowd took care of it. But you had to go to Miami, even a lot of these places where they,
Those
maybe-
places like the Miami Public Library.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. It takes me back to my. Takes me back to
That's
the
for
glory
you.
days. Yes,
Yeah.
for me. Thank you so
Well,
much.
you did kind of go.
I felt like I had to say something.
Protect the pumpkin.
Yeah, that's right, Grant. Let's value the ball, baby.
Yeah. I guess we have to wrap up with
man.
comp this, and I'm reluctant because I won the last one. I rarely
I
win.
am not going to win
And
this time.
yeah, and what we do is
No.
Jerry gives us a player. In this case today, gave us a past player last time, and we are supposed to compete to come up with the best current day comp for the player that Jerry gave us. And by the way, I didn't realize the guy you gave us. I didn't know he was from Indiana.
Southport, Indiana.
Okay,
Oh,
I know he's
yeah.
a Kentucky Colonel. I didn't know he was from
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah, two of the best players on Kentucky that year, '66 when they got beat, were from Indiana, Tell City, Tommy Cron, and Louis Dampier from Southport. They should have been. They should have went to Indiana.
Louis Dampier, the
Oh, that's too
all-time
bad, buddy.
ABA
I'm sorry.
three-point champ,
Yeah, I'm
right?
sorry
Made
about
the
that,
most. So we're supposed to come up with a current day comp for Louis Dampier. I think you
I'm
go first, but
I
if
think
it's
so.
up to you. You have the
Yeah, I
player
think
pass.
This is a tough one, but a very big figure in the ABA, 7-time All-Star, 4 times All-ABA second team. So I had to get. It has to be a great player. So that kind of I like that because that kind of narrows the field, but also it makes it a lot tougher. This is a great shooter. Part of a great shooting backcourt with his partner Daryl Carrier. You remember that,
Yes.
Jer. So I picked a guy. I didn't pick a guy who's part of the greatest shooting backcourt because I didn't go that far for him. But I picked a guy who had a running mate, C.J. McCollum. I got to go with Damian Lillard for Louis Dampier. I mean, this guy was a great shooter, Louis Dampier. Obviously, he didn't score as much as Damian
Like
Lillard,
that.
but it's a different game.
Different
So-
era, yeah.
So when I move him from the 60s and 70s to now, I got to give him his props. So it's got to be a great player. So I got Damian Lillard.
That's not bad.
He came to mind, but I don't want to influence the jury, so I'll tell you why I didn't go that way when we're done. But it certainly came to
Oh,
mind.
that's great.
Louis Dampier was an outstanding point guard as well. His assist numbers are very good. My best I can do is Mike Conley, who's a great shooter.
That's good. That's good.
We've done something right because he's really thinking about this one.
I don't know.
Are you kidding me? You can't come up with an idea? Come on.
Well, I
You're
mean,
a piece of work, Jar.
they're both.
You see Benny the Bull out there? Come on.
You know, I think I'm going to straddle the fence here. I'm going to give you both a half a win.
I'll take it.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I
Yeah,
mean, you know, he's closer in some ways, and you're closer in some ways. I think. I mean, Lillard is so special.
Yeah.
But then
That's why I
you know,
didn't
but
go there.
Louis
Well,
was
Louis was
truly a
really
great
special,
shooter
yeah.
at his time. He wasn't quite the superstar.
No.
And then probably Conley. Probably he was a little, in my mind, a little better player.
Yeah.
During his era than Conley has been in his. So
I'll take it.
yeah, I think
Half
that's
and half.
that.
I love
I
it.
think it's
Ooh,
solid.
I love it.
You know, it's
It's
solid.
solidarity, man. Look at this. What a
so-
team.
Everybody
it's solid
wins.
work. You know, I'll tell you a guy I thought of in today's game that would, in my mind, be very similar.
Can I, by the way, before you share,
Yes,
if I
you
may,
can.
I talked to Jerry last night, and he said, I don't know who my comp would be. And I said, you don't have to have one. We're the ones supposed to.
Yeah.
But
he took it seriously.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
Well,
you
you know, I have a
ridiculed
lot
him.
of pride in
Yeah,
my
I
work.
know,
You know,
I know.
I mean, especially after being so pissed about the review system.
Yeah, well, you got that.
Were
off
you
your-
really mad about that? I couldn't tell.
Oh, anyway.
Not anymore, though.
How about this one? Jamal Murray.
He's bigger, right? And he's yeah.
Shooter.
Yeah.
Can
Shooter.
play off the dribble.
Yeah.
Good passer.
Well, you're
Kentucky.
making a good case for your own game. I'll tell you
Well,
that
I
right
mean,
now.
I just want to kind of.
I'm lucky I got my half point with him because I'm not going to get it with you.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would. To me, I wouldn't have gone there just because of the whole guard thing. But I understand the similarities, the stylistic similarities you're saying.
Yeah.
As far as being a shooter. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can make plays.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like with Louis, as Van Point, he played with Daryl Carrier, who was. They were both kind of 1.5, although Louis more of a 1, but they didn't play the true point guard.
They were like the Splash Brothers of the 60s.
Yes. Yeah, that's
60s, early
true.
70s,
That's
yeah.
really true. And I mean, and Murray certainly is. If there is a playmaker on other than Jokic, it's Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you a half point, too.
half point.
There you
thank
go.
There we go.
We all got
Yeah.
half points.
Yay.
Yes.
But anyway,
That's
Yeah.
good team unity.
yeah, I
right
know
there.
I didn't have to come up with one, but I just wanted.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He challenged you
also
last
helps
night.
us helps us understand how you're looking at this. Do you have one for us for next time?
I do.
And we're back actually a week from today. Can you make it?
A week from today?
Yeah.
I don't plan that far ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He doesn't even buy green bananas anymore.
Hey, what is it?
That's his joke.
What is it? What you? I know. How did you get yourself into this?
Yeah, yeah.
This late in life, you should be with people you enjoy. I don't know what you're doing here.
Well, just to stay with a former Kentucky mentality. Dan Issel.
I knew you were going there. That's going to be so difficult.
Danny Issel, fine player, outstanding player.
Outstanding, excellent.
Yeah, ABA, NBA.
Unique at the point he played. Very unique.
Yes.
Player at the period he
And the
played.
blueprint for
but wouldn't be
now,
so
maybe?
unique now.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
tell you, a guy that you said last week comes to mind when I think of that. But be that as it
Good
may.
thing I can't remember last
Yeah.
week. That's no
I don't
chance.
remember when
There,
the car is
there
parked.
was the last week.
I don't even remember it. Yeah, you weren't ranting. I know that.
I know. I'll calm down.
Have you guys checked out our store yet on Patreon? Right? We have a store on Patreon. Yeah, have you guys checked
I
that
haven't.
yet?
I haven't
Yeah,
perused
I
it
mean,
yet.
purchases.
No.
Oh, you
Yeah,
might want to check it
I
out.
gotta check
Some
it. I
Great
gotta
stuff.
Got
Great
shirts.
stuff. Shirts, yeah.
I got to get a shirt.
Anything you can think of, they have.
How do we get that? How do we get there?
How do we get there?
Go to StonesRadioNetwork. You can get on Mike Stones. Yeah, is that all right with you?
Can we vote? Can we vote on that?
Do you want to vote on it?
Okay, 2-1. Yeah, you can do it.
StonesRadioNetworks.com. There's a old-fashioned 3 tab right at the top. Takes you right to the store, and you can go in there and go perusing, shop today. Get yourself a T-shirt, a
Great
mug,
idea.
something along those lines, and
Yeah, some exclusive designs, right? Unique
Absolutely.
designs, yeah.
That's a great
Didn't
idea.
impress
I,
you.
no, I would. I was thinking
He
about
doesn't
getting
really
a mug,
care.
but if I get a mug and bring it over, Stones never has coffee anymore, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
All right.
He lets us down.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Well,
I'm
yeah,
doing
I
that.
gotta-
I am doing that.
I am too.
Okay.
My son demands I get him a shirt.
Yeah, well,
I
it's son of
Okay.
yours. I don't know.
don't know if he'll wear it, but I mean, demands. I think just to
Just to have
so
one,
as
yeah.
make me spend money on him.
Thank you, Coco. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Old Fashioned 3.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at StonesRadioNetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.